Good morning, everybody, and welcome to PSHE. Today, we were going to be focusing on World Environmental Day, which took place yesterday. It's a very important day in the United Nations calendar. But unfortunately, a number of incidents took place last week, which have meant that I have had to change the plan. And today, we will focus on issues related to appropriate behavior and discipline in our school community. As many of you will know, a number of students have been suspended from school due to their behavior relating to the use of electronic cigarettes and the buying and selling of these products. In future, any student who brings an electronic cigarette into school or tobacco products or any forms of drugs, including tablets, which are not prescription and given to the nurse, or smartphones or electronic devices will be permanently excluded from school without any room for appeal. This has come from the Board of Governors and will be enforced as from now. So do not bring any of those things into school. If you do bring a mobile phone into school by mistake, immediately surrender it at reception to Russia. If you do not do that, and for any reason it is found on your person, including in your bag, you will be permanently excluded from school. So please, I urge you, do not take any risks. This is a very serious matter. If you wish to contact your parents at any time during the school day, you report to Russia in reception and ask for permission to make a call from the reception phone. You do not, under any circumstances, use your own phone because you will not have it in school. Please do not push this one. Please understand the rule and abide by it. The students who have been suspended as of last week are incredibly fortunate not to be permanently excluded because their actions have brought our school name into disrepute. We do not want this sort of behaviour at BISC and we will not tolerate it. It's unfortunate that at this stage of the academic year we have to say this, but this is the case. We will not allow any tobacco products, electronic cigarettes, any forms of drugs, anything like alcohol, of course, or smartphones or any electronic devices, including smartwatches, into school. Do not bring them in. If you have a smartwatch on today, surrender it to Russia and do not wear it again in school. The same goes for any other communication device. Okay, I hope you all understand that because it's really important. So what we're going to focus on today are the dangers related to smoking, whether it be cigarettes, shisha pipes, or electronic cigarettes. They're incredibly dangerous. Before we move forward with that, what I also want to do is congratulate some of our students who showed remarkable maturity in coming forward to tell the administration team that young students were using electronic cigarettes and buying and selling them in school. These students, who I won't name publicly, but I will congratulate privately, have acted with remarkable maturity in recognizing that there is a line in the sand and certain behavior is beyond the pale and completely unacceptable. So these students, out of concern for their younger brothers, sisters, cousins and friends, particularly in years 7 and 8, who are being drawn into this behavior, have approached us and brought it to our attention, and as such we were able to take action. It is good that we have a student body who are responsible enough to recognize when the behavior of others is potentially dangerous and can cause harm in our community. And for that, I am very grateful. What's really important, and I hope will become the overwhelming message from this event, is the fact that we do have students in our school who act with great sense of ethics and a sense of morality, that they know what is right and what is wrong, and they know when to blow the whistle. They know when it is the right time to tell the teacher or tell an administrator. Now, I understand that amongst teens and preteens, there is a culture of solidarity. You're in it together, and you don't come forward to pass on small pieces of information to your teachers or to myself or to Miss Rasha. I understand that. A very long time ago, I was once a teenager myself, and I understand the rules that govern teen life. But what is essential is you recognize the difference between small-scale telling of tales and taking action to stop serious things from happening. On this occasion, the people in question have seen the difference, have seen that, no, this is too important just to ignore or to try to sort out ourselves, and have brought it to the attention of the school. And again, I congratulate predominantly those young men who did that. A couple of girls who came later as well, and I'm thankful for that. There will still be some investigations going on, and some of you listening, your names have been brought up in this investigation, and it may be that some of you will also face sanctions for your part in using electronic cigarettes. So please make sure that it stops from today, because, as I say, the measures are incredibly serious now. And now we'll move on to look at the dangers of smoking such products.
Cigarettes aren't good for us. That's hardly news. We've known about the dangers of smoking for decades. But how exactly do cigarettes harm us? Let's look at what happens as their ingredients make their way through our bodies, and how we benefit physically when we finally give up smoking. With each inhalation, smoke brings its more than 5,000 chemical substances into contact with the body's tissues. From the start, tar, a black, resinous material, begins to coat the teeth and gums, damaging tooth enamel and eventually causing decay. Over time, smoke also damages nerve endings in the nose, causing loss of smell. Inside the airways and lungs, smoke increases the likelihood of infections, as well as chronic diseases like bronchitis and emphysema. It does this by damaging the cilia, tiny, hair-like structures whose job it is to keep the airways clean. It then fills the alveoli, tiny air sacs that enable the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the lungs and blood. A toxic gas called carbon monoxide crosses that membrane into the blood, binding to hemoglobin and displacing the oxygen it would usually have transported around the body. That's one of the reasons smoking can lead to oxygen deprivation and shortness of breath. Within about 10 seconds, the bloodstream carries a stimulant called nicotine to the brain, triggering the release of dopamine and other neurotransmitters, including endorphins, that create the pleasurable sensations which make smoking highly addictive. Nicotine and other chemicals from the cigarette simultaneously cause constriction of blood vessels and damage their delicate endothelial lining, restricting blood flow. These vascular effects lead to thickening of blood vessel walls and enhance blood platelet stickiness, increasing the likelihood that clots will form and trigger heart attacks and strokes. Many of the chemicals inside cigarettes can trigger dangerous mutations in the body's DNA that make cancers form. Additionally, ingredients like arsenic and nickel may disrupt the process of DNA repair, thus compromising the body's ability to fight many cancers. In fact, about 1 of every 3 cancer deaths in the United States is caused by smoking. And it's not just lung cancer. Smoking can cause cancer in multiple tissues and organs, as well as damaged eyesight and weakened bones. It makes it harder for women to get pregnant, and in men, it can cause erectile dysfunction. But for those who quit smoking, there's a huge positive upside with almost immediate and long-lasting physical benefits. Just 20 minutes after a smoker's final cigarette, their heart rate and blood pressure begin to return to normal. After 12 hours, carbon monoxide levels stabilize, increasing the blood's oxygen carrying capacity. A day after ceasing, heart attack risk begins to decrease as blood pressure and heart rates normalize. After 2 days, the nerve endings responsible for smell and taste start to recover. Lungs become healthier after about 1 month, with less coughing and shortness of breath. The delicate, hair-like cilia in the airways and lungs start recovering within weeks and are restored after 9 months, improving resistance to infection. By the 1-year anniversary of quitting, heart disease risk plummets to half as blood vessel function improves. 5 years in, the chance of a clot forming dramatically declines and the risk of stroke continues to reduce. After 10 years, the chances of developing fatal lung cancer go down by 50%, probably because the body's ability to repair DNA is once again restored. 15 years in, the likelihood of developing coronary heart disease is essentially the same as that of a non-smoker. There's no point pretending this is all easy to achieve. Quitting can lead to anxiety and depression resulting from nicotine withdrawal. But fortunately, such effects are usually temporary, and quitting is getting easier thanks to a growing arsenal of tools. Nicotine replacement therapy through gum, skin patches, lozenges and sprays may help wean smokers off cigarettes. They work by stimulating nicotine receptors in the brain and thus preventing withdrawal symptoms without the addition of other harmful chemicals. Counseling and support groups, cognitive behavioral therapy, and moderate intensity exercise also help smokers stay cigarette-free. That's good news, since quitting puts you and your body on the path back to health.
E-cigarettes, vape pens, Juuls. They're often marketed as safe alternatives to smoking, but their cool designs, fun flavors, and the fact that they're easy to hide means it's not only smokers who want them, it's kids. And for kids, they're definitely not safe. Teens should absolutely not use Juuls, e-cigarettes, or any similar products. Here's why. When kids use Juuls or other e-cigarettes, they're getting a big dose of nicotine. This disrupts their brain development. It changes the connections between brain cells, causing problems with learning, mood, and impulse control. It makes depression and anxiety worse.
And as any smoker can tell you, nicotine is highly addictive. That makes it very difficult to quit e-cigarettes. And vaping makes it much more likely that kids will smoke real cigarettes later. It's true that a few e-cigarette brands don't contain nicotine, but most of them do. And all of them contain other dangerous chemicals like these. Formaldehyde, which is found in glue and embalming fluid. Diacetyl, which causes lung disease. Benzene, that's a carcinogen linked to leukemia. Some tests have also found metal particles in the e-cigarette vapor. The devices themselves can also be unsafe. They can explode.
The long-term effects of using e-cigarettes are unknown.
And because there are no standards, we don't know the ingredients in these products.
We don't want children to take unnecessary risks with their health
And begin a lifelong addiction to nicotine. Talk to your kids about e-cigarettes and how to say no to these harmful products.
I mean, I'm addicted to nicotine,
Yeah.
but
We're both
I could tell. But
Yeah.
if I wanted to quit vaping, I guess I could. But I really don't want to give up. Like, yeah, why not?
I mean, there's no reason to give up though.
Vaping is dangerous because it's the same as smoking in that there's nicotine in most, if not all of the vape products, but it gives you the perception, because it's not cigarettes, that it might be a little bit safer. I'm Willie Eggleston. I'm a toxicologist at the Upstate New York Poison Center. 1 Juul pod's about 1 pack of cigarettes. We really need to get the message out to our kids that these are not safe products.
In Health Watch, the Food and Drug Administration is investigating a potential link between seizures and the use of e-cigarettes.
According to the FDA, users in some of those cases also reported experiencing fainting or tremors.
A new study coming out of Yale University, it finds that people who use some e-cigarettes are consuming more than the ingredients that are listed on that package.
Like, you're aware that there are dangerous chemicals in it?
I mean, I do, but the actual component of the juice that we're vaping is PG and VG and nicotine. So actually, if you think about the ingredients, like the safety of the ingredients, it's really not that dangerous, I think. It tastes better.
1 in 5 high school students now reports vaping, and 1 in 20 middle school students is reported vaping. There's harmful chemicals, there's nicotine, they're addictive, and they can impact brain development. The new Juul devices and other similar products look like USB sticks, so the kind of thing you would stick into your computer to save a paper or save a file on, but these small USB-shaped ones are pretty small and easy to hide.
Vaping can deliver nicotine to your brain, reprogramming you to crave more and more. Don't get hacked.
Is it expensive?
Not really. $5. It's a lot healthier than just smoking cigarette.
The reality is they can be just as dangerous. In addition to the harmful chemicals that are in the vaping product, there are also tiny particles, and those tiny particles can lodge themselves in your lungs. And when they do that, over time they may cause damage. We still don't know because they are such new products.
Some people think that vaping is no big deal, but that is just an illusion. Do you vape? Yeah. You do? Do you have a vape with you today? Yeah. I see. Oh, okay, cool. I want to hold your hand up for me. I'm going to take the vape like this. I'm going to put it into your hand like that. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, here we go. Watch very carefully. Boom. Did you know that if you vape, you're more likely to start smoking cigarettes? It's not magic. It's statistics. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
With over 7,000 chemicals released each time you light a cigarette, it's no surprise that smoking is one of the leading causes of preventable deaths worldwide. But with 1.3 billion people actively smoking, what actually happens when you stop smoking? Within the first 20 minutes of quitting, your blood pressure and heart rate return to normal. This is because the nicotine in cigarettes released epinephrine and norepinephrine, which increased your heart rate and narrowed blood vessels. These effects also cause smokers' extremities to feel colder, but by now your hands and feet have returned to their normal temperature. 2 hours in, and the nicotine cravings begin, causing moodiness, drowsiness, tense feelings, and even difficulty sleeping. Because nicotine also releases more dopamine than normal, these are expected physiological responses to the decrease in its release. 8 hours after quitting, and the inhaled carbon monoxide clears, allowing oxygen levels in the bloodstream to return to normal. Carbon monoxide and oxygen compete to bind to hemoglobin in your blood, which stresses the circulatory system, so as it clears, there's more room for oxygen. However, for long-term smokers, this carbon monoxide exposure causes red blood cells to increase in size, making the blood thicker and causing higher blood pressure and increased chances of developing blood clots. Surprisingly, 24 hours after quitting, coughing will actually increase, which is your body's way of clearing out all the toxins from the lungs. Additionally, at this point, the risk of developing various coronary artery diseases decreases, all within 24 hours. After 48 hours, when nicotine and its metabolites are completely eliminated from your body, damaged nerve endings begin to regrow. The tar and other chemicals in cigarettes leave fewer taste buds that are flatter with less blood vessels. They now begin to regain their sensitivity, making food taste better. Although chronic smokers smokers may often have irreversibly damaged taste buds. At the 72-hour mark, nicotine withdrawal peaks with headaches, nausea, and cramps, as well as emotional symptoms like anxiety and depression. These symptoms can be seen by most addictive substances, including caffeine, but after this period, the worst is officially over. After 1 month, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular diseases has already decreased. In 3 to 9 months, the damaged cilia in the lungs are almost fully repaired, which are hair-like structures that help sweep away dust and debris, and as a result, symptoms such as coughing and shortness of breath are almost completely eliminated. And around 1 year, the risk of developing heart disease as a direct result of atheroma formation, which are deposits of fatty material or scar tissue from deteriorating arterial walls, decreases by almost 1/2. In 10 years, the chance of developing lung cancer decreases to half of someone who did not quit smoking, and in 15 years' time, the risk of heart attack decreases to the same as someone who has never smoked their entire life. Of course, this guideline is not definitive, and the average amount you smoke per day or year will play a role in how well your body recovers. Unfortunately, there will always be some irreversible damage to the lungs and increased susceptibility to developing various lung diseases. And while quitting may be difficult, the benefits greatly outweigh the initial withdrawal. Ultimately, the best way to prevent this from happening is to not begin smoking at all.
So now you've got more of the evidence on the dangers of smoking and of electronic cigarettes. I urge you to make wise decisions with your health. More importantly than not bringing such products into school because of the rules is making wise decisions, educating yourself, and realizing that it's just not worth getting involved in any form of smoking. And as the evidence points, vaping, electronic cigarettes is often seen as what they call a gateway drug and can lead on to the use of other tobacco products, or even worse, into a world of illegal drugs and the associated health risks that they involve. So make wise decisions. Being able to think through the risks is the most important thing that you can learn in this context. In the meantime, it's also wise not to do it because you'll get expelled from school, but I'd like to think in the long term that your decisions are based upon what is wise. Now, in order to follow up this activity, I want you to spend some time discussing the dangers of smoking, whether electronic or tobacco products, and to think about how you might put together an education plan yourself. So your homework for this week is, whether it be video, poster, PowerPoint, whatever medium you wish to use, I challenge you to put together an educational anti-smoking campaign, either in pairs or in small groups within your classes. So your teachers can support you and you can show your progress as you go through the week, and then hopefully by Friday we can have a few entries and see who can come up with the best campaign, which then we can publish on YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. And also, perhaps if it's posters, we can display them in the foyer so that anyone visiting our school can see that we are a tobacco and drug-free zone. So good luck with it, and let's have some good entries.